For a national election to function, millions of citizens must stand in the sun for hours, investing their hope and presence into the democratic process. The culmination of all that effort is a single analog act, dropping a piece of paper into a box. But the moment that paper leaves their hand, the physical choice is transformed into a string of digital code. The old methods of stealing physical ballot boxes are obsolete. A political campaign can draw massive crowds to stadium rallies, but if they ignore the invisible digital infrastructure, they have already lost the election. The actual war is fought inside the software. This diagram illustrates what LegiShield calls the iceberg doctrine. It maps the division between the systems the public interacts with and the hidden architecture where votes are actually verified. Above the waterline is what the media and voters see, the declared results and the public viewing portal. Below the surface sits a massive, unaudited data pipeline, completely shielded from public scrutiny. Look at this specific note here, the RayTech layer. These are human technicians stationed at the ward level. They sit directly between the automated polling data and the back-end servers. Without any statutory oversight, these technicians possess the power to manually review, delay, or alter the vote counts before forwarding them. If an intermediary intercepts the data here, the system ends up producing conflicting records. The data captured at the polling unit no longer matches what reaches the public. Building a transparent web portal at the end of the line achieves nothing if the intermediary data nodes are controlled in the dark. Political survival requires candidates to adapt. They must shift their resources from traditional ground games to commanding this digital architecture. This begins with a tool known as the Campaign Legal Intelligence Briefing, the primary instrument for anticipating technological manipulation. The briefing maps historical, legally documented methods of electoral defeat directly against a candidate's specific geographical strongholds. It allows legal teams to see precisely where an opponent might engineer a sudden communication failure, providing a 6-month window to file preemptive court orders. Entering an election cycle without this operational risk dashboard leaves a campaign completely blind to the digital traps that trigger an unchallengeable midnight declaration. Even with preparation, Election Day brings chaos. A network failure is suddenly announced in a key district, and the local voting data stops updating. When that happens, campaigns turn to the War Room Manual. It provides the exact legal protocols needed to survive the critical first 72 hours before the Electoral Commission wipes the servers. The core of this defense is the 4-prayer back-end strategy, a targeted sequence of legal demands designed to freeze disappearing evidence in place. First, it demands exclusive forensic access to the physical voting machines, paired with an immediate download of the raw back-end server logs. Next, it forces disclosure of specific user IDs for the handling technicians and extracts the exact millisecond timestamps of every public portal upload. By subpoenaing every layer of the pipeline simultaneously, you remove the blind spots. The altered records have nowhere to hide before the petition window closes. But elite legal strategies depend entirely on what happens on the ground. A subpoena cannot secure evidence that was never documented. The technology requires a massive, decentralized network of human accountability. This is where the research detailed in the book The BVAS Battle moves out of the courtroom and into the hands of the voters, serving as an operational field manual. Specifically, it provides the Post-Election Verification Checklist, a tool built for direct deployment at the polling stations. It instructs observers on exactly what to photograph, log, and sign the moment the polls close, creating a contemporaneous record of the truth before the data hits the dark nodes. Transforming regular voters into a nationwide network of forensic data collectors creates an evidentiary wall that even a corrupt tribunal cannot dismiss. Civil leaders and candidates must immediately equip their staff and supporters with these verification protocols. The televised theater of millions waiting in line means nothing if an invisible digital hijack overrides their choices in a remote server room. Securing an election is not a spectator sport. It demands aggressive, proactive intervention from the electorate. To secure the nation, you must master the digital pipeline, step up to the front line, and